Imagine loving your dog more than anything. But then someone you love even more demands you leave him behind. What would you do? It's a tough choice. But in this story, a woman faced the unimaginable decision to abandon her beloved dog. What she did next will break your heart and leave you speechless. Keep watching to find out. This is the story of Lao, a small dog who was once loved deeply by his owner. He lived in a warm home, played in the yard, and waited by the door every evening. But one day, everything changed. His owner, a woman who had just gotten married, faced a choice. Her new husband didn't want Leo in the house. She didn't want to send him to a shelter either, afraid people in town would judge them. So instead, they drove Leo far away and left him on the side of a cold highway. Snow was falling, and the wind was strong. It was one of the coldest nights in Michigan. Leo was all alone. No collar, no blanket, no food. Just snow all around him, with cars passing by without stopping. His little body shook in the freezing cold. But he didn't give up. He sat on a snowy hill, waiting, not knowing why he was left, but still hoping someone would come back. A small dog, full of love, left to fight the storm with nothing but hope in his heart. The wind howled across the freeway as snow fell harder with every minute. Drivers kept their eyes on the road, holding their steering wheels tight. Most just wanted to get home safely. But one driver saw something strange. In the thick snow, 2 tiny ears were sticking out. He blinked, thinking maybe it was just snow or a shadow. But when he looked again, he realized it was a dog, barely visible and almost buried. Without wasting time, he pulled over and quickly called Michigan Humane. His hands were shaking, not just from the cold, but from fear. He gave them the exact location, hoping they'd get there fast. Every second felt long. The rescue team didn't waste a moment. When they reached the spot, they saw him. Leo, curled up in the snow, soaking wet and barely moving. His body looked weak, and his eyes were full of fear and sadness. One of the rescuers, a woman named Eliana, moved slowly toward him. She didn't want to scare him more. At first, Leo tried to crawl away. He was cold, scared, and didn't know if he could trust anyone. But then Eliana knelt down, spoke softly, and held out her hand. Somehow Leo felt it was safe. He took one small step forward. That was enough for Eliana. She gently wrapped him in a thick, warm blanket and picked him up with care. In her arms, Leo felt warmth for the first time in days. His shaking slowed down. He didn't feel so alone anymore. The ride to the shelter was quiet. Leo, tired and weak, rested in the blanket. The rescuers spoke softly, telling him he was safe now. At the Michigan Humane Shelter, a team was ready. They gave him food, water, and a soft bed. His body was cold, he was thin, and he looked scared. But he was finally safe. He was very nervous at first, said Lisa Chrisman from Michigan Humane. But slowly he started to trust us and feel better. Over the next few days, Leo started to feel safer and more at home. He met other dogs, and that helped him feel less alone. The staff gave him toys, treats, and lots of love. Each day, he grew stronger. His tail started wagging again, and soon, he was chasing after balls, chewing on stuffed toys, and barking happily when someone passed his kennel. Leo's favorite treats were stuffed Kongs and small pieces of hot dog. These made him so happy that his tail wagged like a little motor. The staff couldn't help but smile every time he came over for pets or licked their hands. Leo wasn't the scared dog buried in the snow anymore. He was coming back to life. But there was still one thing that confused Eliana. Who was Leo's owner? His behavior showed he had once been loved, but when she found him, he had no collar or ID. Eliana wanted to find out who had abandoned him. She knew Leo had been in such a critical condition when she rescued him, and she wanted to make sure the person responsible learned a lesson. But now, the most important thing was finding a forever home for Leo. Eliana shared Leo's story online. She posted pictures and wrote about how he was found in the snow. People from all over started sharing the post. Messages began pouring in. Many families wanted to adopt Leo and give him the love he had lost. But one message stood out. It said, "I know this dog and his owner too." Eliana's heart skipped a beat. She quickly replied and got all the details about Leo's past. With that information, Eliana went to the house of Leo's old owner. A woman named Ruby opened the door. The moment she saw Eliana, her face went pale. Ruby had seen the post and knew the truth was out. Before Eliana could say anything, Ruby started crying. She explained how her husband made her choose, either him or the dog. Eliana listened quietly. She could see Ruby was sad, but she also knew Leo deserved better. Without saying much, she turned and walked away. She made up her mind. Leo would not go back to the past. He needed someone who would never leave him behind again. Someone who would love him no matter what. And after searching and trying everything, one special family stood out. They lived in a quiet neighborhood with a big yard full of trees and toys. The best part? They had big hearts and lots of love to give. When they came to meet Leo, something just clicked. Leo wagged his tail and walked right over. It felt like he had known them forever. Everyone could see. This was the right home for him. On the day Leo left the shelter, the staff hugged him tightly. Some even cried. They had taken care of him, watched him heal, and now they were saying goodbye. As Leo jumped into the car with his new family, he turned around once and looked at them, as if to say, "Thank you." His new home was warm and happy. He had his own soft bed, tasty food, and toys all around. Every day he went on walks, played in the grass, and met new dog friends. His new family gave him cuddles, belly rubs, and made sure he was never cold or lonely again. Leo finally had the life he deserved. At night, Leo curled up by the warm fireplace. His eyes slowly closed as his new family sat beside him, watching him sleep. The same little dog who was once left in the cold snow, scared and alone, now rested in a safe and loving home. His new owner smiled and said, "He's amazing. We couldn't have asked for a better dog. Leo makes us smile every day." Leo's journey wasn't easy. It was full of pain, fear, and cold nights. But it turned into something beautiful. His story became one of hope. It started with a driver who didn't ignore what he saw, a small pair of ears poking out of the snow. That moment changed Leo's life. The rescue team worked fast, the shelter gave him care, and a new family gave him love. Leo's story is more than just a rescue. It's a reminder that kindness can save lives, that small actions, like stopping a car, making a call, or sharing a post, can mean everything to someone in need. Now, Leo has toys, a soft bed, warm meals, and people who never want to let him go. He runs in the grass, wags his tail, and finally feels safe. But there are still many dogs like Leo waiting in shelters, waiting for love, waiting for someone to care. If Leo's story touched your heart, think about helping. Adopt, volunteer, or donate. Even the smallest help can change a life. Leo's happy ending started with someone who cared. And sometimes that's all it takes. Just one small act of kindness.